Hello, Cancer. Welcome to the Power of Three and me. I'm Amber, and your general monthly reading for November 2025. You see at the title, your transparency reading. We're using the transparent tarot, which I've had for several years. They don't use it on camera, but I'm using it this month. Three cards for your overall energy. Also, you know that there's a word from the Holy Spirit next month, but there's one this month. We're really finishing this year off in a big way. um, really sure what next year holds. So there's going to be a word this month and next month. And we are looking at what you need transparency on, clarity. You know, decide yes, no. Do I start? Do I finish? Do I, whatever it is? You may need to actually get away and sit on a beach and just disconnect from everything, or it just might be staying away from a certain person, or maybe just taking a break and stay home for a while. However, it resonates with you, if at all. Okay, so just reminding you to comment if you would like and hit the like button and subscribe. It's all free. And here we go with your word from the Holy Spirit. You can live as close to me as you choose. I set up no barriers between us, neither do I tear down barriers that you erect. People tend to think their circumstances determine the quality of their lives. So they pour their energy into trying to control those situations. They feel happy when things are going well, sad or frustrated when things don't turn out as they hope. They rarely question this correlation between their circumstances and feelings, yet it is possible to be content in any and every situation. Put more energy into trusting me and enjoying my presence. Don't let your well being depend on your circumstances. Instead, connect your joy to my precious promises. I am with you. I'll watch over you wherever you go. I will meet all your needs according to my glorious riches. Nothing in all creation will be able to separate you from my love. Of course not, because he's in you and you are him. So let's see how this starts out, Cancer. For November 2025. Fear not. Nice, it goes along with your word. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Exact match to the words you just got. Okay, I would say with Cancer, you guys, your circumstances, regardless of what they are, they're all going to be different. And it might be an up and down thing. It might be like a roller coaster. Um, It's good for a bit and then not. Up and down, up and down. Maybe you're tired of that. I mean, everybody's got to have trouble, but come on. Like every day of every week of every month of every year with, 5-minute break in between. It might feel that way, some of you. Let's see. Three cards, which I will tell you what they are as they come out, and I'll show you once they're put together what I get from it as well. For Cancer, raw energy. Here we go. The Fool. It's nice. I like that. But it explains a lot, doesn't it? The Fool hasn't started anything yet. Fool is at the beginning, taking a chance, not knowing how it's going to turn out. Maybe again, that's how you feel all the time. Getting some transparency on how to function because it just doesn't seem to change. It just seems to be life itself. And the words that you just got is to say not to live and base your happiness on your circumstances. Because they might be good sometimes, they might be bad. Two more. The Empress, struggling mother, maybe generations of struggling mothers. One more for Cancer, please. Come on. Are any of you surprised? The Fool, the Emperor, and the Moon, constantly having to take chances and, live on the edge of your seat, basically, because you never seem to have that assurity for tomorrow. And the word and your overall energy here, if you're not little flock, but if you follow through, it's what you need transparency to figure out how to live that way and feel that way, regardless of, whether you've got enough food on the table, regardless of whether, you're not going to find that job or be able to pay the rent or the mortgage or whatever it is. Okay, now we're going to fill this up with the major arcana tarot. It's just major. That's it. That's all that's in here. So we know that it's going to be significant. For the sign of Cancer, November 2025, give us their supporting energy, please. Your choices in life is what this is about. Not necessarily a lover. It could be every lover or person you've dated or whatever your whole life. Uh, the choice that you made in a lover to put you in the position where you're at now because you're on your own, foot in the bill, carrying all the weight and the pressure. So needing transparency, not on that, because obviously that is what it is. But it's how you get through your day. It's how you get through your life. That's what you need transparency about. Not panicking every time there's uncertainty about paying the rent, uncertainty about keeping the heat on, uncertainty about maybe many other things that aren't even going to come out in this reading, but you know what they are within yourself. Living in panic mode all the time, or are you going to look back and look at how maybe things ended up working out? Is your life the way you want it? No. But your spirit could shift to try not to be in panic mode. Trust me, I'm in the same spot right now. I have no job. I'm applying and not getting any calls back. And I know how you feel. I'm not on unemployment anymore, but the company I work for owes me a lot of effing money. And I'm waiting to kind of hear about that. So, and in the meantime, trying to find a job. So I get it. But are you gonna try to have faith that it'll be there when you need it, or things will shift in a different way to make it better for you, all the while living in the fool energy because you feel like you're at the beginning all the time, in risk mode all the time. Okay? So that's what you need transparency about is how you're gonna allow those circumstances to make you feel all the time. All right, the main spread is Legacy of the Divine Tarot. So let's see what comes out for Cancer's highest good, November 2025. Goes very quick. Page of Swords. Um, this could be Cancer, your one of your kids, whether you have one or more than one, but it's spying energy. It's I feel like they're very helpful in their own little way. They like to feel like they can contribute by maybe bringing you a cup of tea or bringing you what you need, because they're following in your footsteps. They're getting their how they handle these situations from you. So you want to be mindful of that as well, that you don't want your child in panic mode all the time. You want to give them a strong spiritual foundation. 8 of Wands. These 8 of Wands aren't moving like they usually are. They're all kind of like standing up, right? And some of them have different tops on them of pretty, like crystal. It looks like opal, but the one you can actually kind of see a scene inside. And I have to tell you what I'm getting from this, because this 8 of Wands is movement, but I'm picking up a neighborhood, and I'm picking up you having to maybe move from like 4 of Wands to another 4 of Wands, from one house to another, from one neighborhood to another. Maybe it's more affordable. 6 of Cups. This might be you reflecting back on your childhood, um, which maybe was a lot more um, brighter days, happier times, family, friends, and how did you go from that to where you're at? Bottom of the deck, the Empress. It's here twice. The Empress. She's nurturing, loving, offering everything you can, which, in your opinion, isn't very much, but it's all you have, and it comes from the heart. And somehow you make your way. You do. It's good enough, but it's not good enough. Again, I get it. Um, but it's trying to shift your spiritual energy to have more faith and not panic. Try to be happy in those when you would normally start to freak out thinking this won't get solved unless I panic about it, unless I worry about it 24/7. That's not true. Do what you can and then just let it go. Be happy. Try to focus on those moments, making the kids lunches, maybe sitting and playing a game with them or going for a walk and getting your mind off and keeping high vibrational and knowing that fear not. Exactly how this started. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And we're clarifying for you with the Radiant Wise Tarot. And this is one of the, there it is right there. My Bojack got a hold of the Knight of Wands. And I yelled at him so bad, I feel bad about it, but I can drop cards in front of him now and he will not touch them. I didn't do anything to him. I just literally yelled in his face because I was pissed because, like the cards are, it's money, right? Down the drain. You buy them and then you gotta, I've had to, I don't think it was him. It wasn't him. It was one of the other dogs got a hold of my, what the heck was that one called? I forget. Anyway, I love this deck. There was 2 decks to it, and the one was just desecrated. Like, so I just threw it out. I like that deck. Well, those 2 decks. There was 2 decks. Anyway, but I kept this one because it's still usable and it seems to add some meaning to that Knight of Wands. He's been around the block a few times, we'll say. Coming in under that Ace of Swords, we have the Ace of Pentacles. But I'll have to show you this. I have to bring this back up. I want you to know that the page. You see how he's holding on to that pillow with the two? What the heck are on there? They're two, well, they look like daggers, to be honest, okay? But I feel like it's defense. See how it's an offer. It's like they're only a little kid, but they are in tune with what you're going through as a family and as a mom, and they just want to help in any way they can. And obviously, it's not helpful in the situation itself, but it might help you tune into your message from the Holy Spirit to remind you, because you're not going to get it like that. It's going to come in time where maybe you start to panic again, and then your little child comes and says, you know, whatever it is that they do in their special way to try and help mom. Maybe they made you something. And it's just that little reminder to smile anyway, no matter how bad it feels. That the situation that you're thinking about that you're trying not to. See, Four of Wands, the Two of Swords. You have to move. This I feel like with this Two of Swords, the decision's being made for you somehow. Whether it's just circumstances themselves, or wait, maybe you are subsidized wherever you live, and maybe you're being moved to a neighborhood you don't like or something like that. Death card under the past. It's like I'm hearing those days are over, and that's how you feel. And guess what's at the bottom? Mr. Knight of Wands himself, with the headless horse, not the headless horseman. I just realized that. Well, you can see a bit of his mouth, but you can't because it's hanging off that this piece that's flopping. But when I look at it like this, it's like, you know, the rider's got a head, but the horse doesn't. But like I say, that's this, okay? That is this. You know, he was there for a good time, not a long time. But unfortunately, it was that time that we were extremely, we might have only been, I'm hearing like for some of you, and you might have only been with this person one time, but you're not the kind of person to end a life. So we're getting your advice from the owl, tarot of the owls. That's what it's called. For Cancer. All right. We've got the Fool, the Empress, and the Moon with the Lovers. Oh, okay, two fell. Ace of Swords and the Two of Cups. For others of you, you might have really thought that this was your true love meant to be, but and it's funny because look at this. Oh, jeez. Okay, this the ace is see that you see the Two of Cups, the two owls, but here, if you look closely, that's a little baby hatching. Beside that Ace of Swords. Mm. It's going to be different for all of you. Like I say, for some of you, it might have been a one night fling, and holy shit, right? This person isn't even worth maybe even telling because you know they're a Knight of Wands. It only meant to be a Knight of Wands. Maybe you're just, I don't know, shit happens, right? You might not even tell them. For others of you, it might just have been, you might have been in a relationship and they pieced out on you and you got pregnant. Like a nightmare, right? Like who does that? Okay, it's going to be different for everybody. Let's keep going with the Ace of. I just feel like whether this is a second child or whether this Page of Swords is that child, you know, grown to the age of around 10ish, maybe, right? Um, but it's now that things you're really struggling, and the child's still very young, and blah blah blah. So there's still much to do, but I feel like they are. You don't know what you do without them at the same time. You know what I mean? Nine of Pentacles. You know what I'm getting from this? We know that the Nine of Pentacles is sustaining yourself. And I feel like that the child reminds you of that when they come in different ways to offer gifts or offer their help, love, support in the different ways that they do. They kind of let you know that to them, you are Nine of Pentacles. You always make sure that they get what they need. You always make sure that they're loved, and they let you know that even though you feel like you're struggling to beat the band, to them you pull it off very nicely. You follow me? And it gives you that boost of confidence that you need to stay positive and keep going. Two of Swords under the Four of Wands. This might be what's really shaking this up is you having to move for whatever reason, right? Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups. For some of you, if the person does know that they are, you know, a parent, and this Knight of Cups really might be you notifying them that you're moving. You might be moving a little farther than just another neighborhood, and in which case they would maybe have to know that for whatever reason, for legal reasons, whatever. Um, for others of you, you could have somebody coming into your life. You just don't see it coming. It's not a something on your mind, but it could be somebody that you meet when you move somewhere new. The Death card under the past, under that Six of Cups, Ten of Cups. There's four owls here, two big ones and two little ones. You know, just because your life hasn't turned out the way you envisioned it in your past that it would as a child doesn't mean that you can't have a Ten of Cups. And I feel like you do. And it can get a lot better. It's just shifting, living in that panic mode because no, your life isn't perfect and you struggle financially. And, you know, you have to be mindful of everything, but learning to be happy, learning to know that you are adored, even though you don't feel like, you know what I mean? But that's not true. You're adored. You've done a very fine job, Cancer, in this scenario. But that's what is the transparency that's needed, is to learn to shift your way of thinking and your way of handling. When that panic mode comes, take a deep breath, focus on something that gives you happiness, and remember these words today. Let's see what's at the bottom. Four cups. So I'm linking this to this night because it just goes, okay? Somebody's gonna go out on a limb and offer you something, friendship. It's a scenario. I think it's just somebody introducing themselves, and you may cut them off at the jugular without like afraid that the reason that they're saying hello and introducing themselves because you're new. It might be the only reason, and they might be a really awesome person. That's why this Ten of Cups is here. But you might not perceive it that way at first. Like you don't want to have somebody say hello to you and introduce themselves because they're trying to ask you out right away, right? So just be mindful of that because I feel like you're going to turn your head and this person's going to go out on a limb because, yeah, you're new in town. You're new in the neighborhood. All right. Advice or not your advice? Yeah, I guess your closing message really is what it is. November 2025 is coming from the Mermaid and Fairy Oracle. So we're going to close this energy out with a message for Cancer's highest good. I can't believe this. This is awesome. I love it. You got a new dawn. The worst is now behind you, and positive new experiences are on the horizon. How amazing is that? It's true. Stay high vibrational. Try not to panic. I know things are unsteady and you feel like you're in the fool energy all the time. I know. I'm with you. You're not alone. So, Cancer, please subscribe. Double check and make sure you are subscribed. And if you haven't, please subscribe. It's free. And personalize it if you do, to make sure you get the videos. Because if you go and check the channel, and I welcome all of you to do that, and go back through the different months so you can see where some months the views are great and all of a sudden just drops off. And I literally just get a handful, literally like a couple of views on each video. It's very discouraging, but I do keep going. And it does bring a smile to my face when the numbers start going up instead of going down. I put effort into it and then I see the subscriptions going down. I even get views taken away off my videos. So Cancer, it's all free and I appreciate it. So take care of yourself until I see you again. Bye for now.